Welcome back to Wisdom Wednesdays with Coach Mitch. I'm super excited to talk to him again to give you all more wisdom as you're watching here on Virginia This Morning. And today we're going to talk about decision making. And I'm super excited to talk about this because it's hard sometimes for us to make decisions and stick with them. But Coach Mitch, who is an award-winning keynote speaker as well as executive coach, is going to tell us all the tricks and trades to help us out. So good morning again, Mitch. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Heather Marie. So good to see you this morning.
Good to see you as well. So today we're going to talk about decision making. And the first thing that we're going to dive into is to get a clear vision of what we're doing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the first thing we got to do is we got to get clear on the no-brainer choice, right? It's so easy when we think we're having a hard time making decisions. There's so many points of views and opinions and data that we pull in. We got to get rid of all that and just what's the no-brainer choice that you would make? So for this, I love this question. It's a big question, but I love it. So if I had everything I could ever possibly want, if everyone loved me, no matter what I did, if I lived on a deserted island, had never talked to anybody, never heard of Facebook or Instagram, or never ever watched TV, what would I do? And when you remove that outside influence, what you want becomes very clear, very fast.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's so much influence that is around us, whether it's people pleasing or social media pleasing, that sometimes we forget who we are. And that brings me to the next question is what's the real resistance? What are we really resisting from making that decision? And why is it so hard to do that?
Yeah, so we are never ever upset for the reasons we think we are. And so when you're not sure what to do, it's often because we're trying to solve for something else. So a very anodyne example here. Where to eat, right? Family's going to go out for dinner. Where are we going to eat? By yourself. You know exactly where you're eating. Like there's no hesitation, right? So what we have here, though, the hesitation is because you are unconsciously trying to solve for something else. You are unconsciously trying to please your partner. What do they want? What's everybody going to be happy with? Those are questions that you can't answer. So there's a lot more question marks coming in than actual points. That's what puts you at the crossroads. So here, what we want to do is ask ourselves, what is the real thing? What is the real thing I am trying to solve for? Because once I know that I'm trying to make someone else happy, the decision-making strategy becomes very clear. I'm just going to go and ask them, hey, what do you want for dinner? And then we'll find a happy medium, as opposed to me just stewing, oh God, well, if I make this choice, then this is going to happen. I make this choice, this is going to happen, right? And, 2 hours have gone by and we're still hungry. So we want to ask ourselves, what is the real thing I am trying to solve for? When you know that decision-making strategy becomes clear and you move forward.
Yeah, I love that. And it's also important. I mean, obviously in relationships, there's compromise and somebody likes certain foods that maybe somebody else doesn't. And so you've got to find those places, the happy medium, like you were talking about. But I think the best thing that you can find for yourself with decision making is to know who you are and to know what you like. And sometimes people, honestly, if we are candid about this, they don't know. And I know I was in a situation of single parenting for a very long time. And so you get to know who you are and you get to know what you like. But I think sometimes people don't step back from that space to really know who they are. But it goes to the next point of celebrating who you are and really embracing that time with yourself and knowing what you like so that you can make those decisions a little easier. Tell us a little bit more about that.
So first of all, I agree 100% with everything you just said. Decision making is really a conversation about self-trust. And so we have to get to know who we are, but we also have to like who we are. And so for this, I love the question, what's awesome about me? And I want you to ask yourself that question, but I also want you to not answer it. This is where people go wrong, is that we get a piece of paper out and we start making these, like, oh, I bought a nice shirt last week. That one time 12 years ago, I did that nice thing for somebody, right? And that's fine. But what I want you to do is just ask the question and let it go, because I want the answers to find you in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you're at work and, and you know, back to single parenting, right? You're at work and you have a child up and I have to leave right now. And you don't feel any remorse about that. You're happy to do it and you're happy to go. And they go, yeah, okay, fine. And you walk to the car and you're so proud of yourself because you asserted, because you set a boundary, because you said yes to yourself and what was already on the plan. And so you feel personal pride in that.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it matters because you can register it in the moment. It logs in the body as, oh, that's a thing that I do. And so it's much more useful. And then the next day, something else might happen, so on and so forth. And that's how you compile the list, where unconsciously the body goes, oh no, this is who I am. That's when you start to fall in love with yourself. And really, what you once considered a liability becomes an asset. And that is when decision making starts to become very, very easy.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And it's important for people to know that it doesn't matter if you're an executive or if you're a stay-at-home mom, normalizing that sometimes it is hard to number one, love yourself, and number two, make decisions. But when you have that emotional intelligence and awareness of where you're at and why you're doing those things, it allows you to kind of, like I said, step back and step outside of the box and go, okay, what's really going on here? How can I make this decision a little easier so it's not such a struggle? And stop people pleasing other people around you, doing something that is going to be communicated between that someone else if you're doing it with someone else. And if not, if it's just you doing it, then you get to know yourself a little bit better. I love that. I love
When I like what you said there about loving yourself. Loving yourself is a huge term. And if you think about the relationship you have with yourself, to go from just simply knowing to loving, it's a huge jump. And it can put a lot of pressure on it, right? Think about if a relationship with somebody else. You don't like go to work with someone who you just know and then say, well, tomorrow I have to love them.
Yeah.
Like that's not how that works, right? So why would it be the same? Like give yourself some space
Yeah.
to just appreciate who you are. Then
Mm-hmm.
we'll worry about love down the line. Because if you like how you move through the world in any capacity, you're going to champion it,
Yeah.
right? Even if there's one thing that you like, how you like, I might like how I take charge of the kitchen at dinner time, but I'm going to own that. And I'm going to step into that because I appreciate that about myself. And then what happens is everybody else around you starts to go, oh, well, I'm not even making decisions about dinner because they got it. And you go, yeah, I do got it. So now it was like, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Becomes, no, 3 o'clock, I start making dinner. That's what we're doing. And I appreciate that about myself. That's when it starts to turn into love. And that's when, again, the decision making process just becomes so much easier.
I love that. Decisions can be made easier. And thanks to Coach Mitch, he's helping us out. Where can people find you and some of your other resources so that they can search you out when they're needing a little bit of help?
At the President's Coach on Instagram.
I love that. And you can find more on Wisdom Wednesdays here on virginiathismorning.com. Thank you so much, Mitch, again, for helping us out and finding new things to be able to be a little wiser about on Wednesdays. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Heather Marie. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. Bye, everybody.